So there's a lot of ways to grow a marketing practice. And in the beginning, you're going to kind of do a whole bunch of things for basically anybody. And that's going to help you learn the skills and get the experience and get the reps in to be good at what you do. So you can eventually start to solve bigger and bigger problems and earn more and more and charge more and more for your work and your expertise. Now, the ultimate goal is to create scarcity. And what I mean by that is, how do I become not interchangeable? Well, how do I have not many, if any, direct competitors in the business? Maybe there's alternatives to working with you. For example, one of Netflix's alternatives would be television, or sleep is one of the biggest competitors, but it's not necessarily Netflix. Now, Netflix actually has real competitors. But how do I put myself in a category, not just by definition, but through practice, that makes it really hard to compare me to anyone else and really hard to choose an alternative that fits my mold. And usually that means getting specific enough, looking for opportunities and getting specific enough about who you help and how you help them. And that can come down to picking a niche, and it can also come down to your business model and how you approach your business model. Now, what I'm looking for at all times in my business is, how do I create that negotiating leverage that I can say with confidence that, look, I do this. And, as far as I know, I'm the best at doing this particular thing. I don't even know who else I would refer to you if you were looking for this kind of thing. Mind you, if you're looking for a generalist agency, I can refer you to 100. There's 1,000. You can just go on LinkedIn and look up, marketing agency in your city, and you'll find people. But I'm the only one I know that specializes at this level and does this type of work. And so ideally what you're doing is you're creating almost a vacuum around you, so that when a prospect comes to you, they haven't seen someone like you before, or at least you're so specific in their minds to what they need, that they cling on to your content, that they pay attention, that they consume what you have to offer, and then they refer you to other people. And that really can develop this word of mouth factor and really just create that credibility, frankly. And also it kind of compounds on itself, because you actually do get better the more you specialize and the more you work with fewer and fewer people. So at all times, my goal is not to think bigger. It's actually to think smaller in a way, and to create scarcity around how much of my time I make available. So I only work with 7 consulting clients one-to-one at any given time. And when I do my mentorship, by the way, I'm a full-time marketing advisor, and I also help marketers become more profitable, build more profitable businesses, and I have a membership for that. And even that membership now is limited in terms of the number of people that I'm going to help, because there's a one-to-one component and a group setting and training and education that goes along with it. And so that membership is inherently scarce, because there's only so many people I'm going to work with. And I don't know what that number is yet, but it's not more than 50, certainly. So how do I create a unique product or service with positioning that doesn't have a comparable alternative to you, that also complements my unique set of skills, that I'm the only one capable of doing it, because these are my natural skills, the thing that I'm best at? How do I do that? How do I create that thing and combine it with what the market actually wants? Because it's one thing to be the best faith-based dog groomer in the world, but if no one is looking for that, then you don't really have a business. So how do I build my business around my unique skills and advantages, and do and deliver my work in a way that is competitive and unique relative to the alternative options, so that when a buyer comes along, they look left and right and they don't actually see anyone that looks like your peers. They don't see anyone that's comparable. They might see people who do part of what you do, or do kind of what you do, but in a different way entirely. And maybe they want that more, maybe they want that less, or maybe they're cheaper, or maybe you're cheaper, or maybe you're higher end when everyone else is cheaper. So how do I find that unique part of the market that I can say, look, if you want this, here's what I do, and I do it very well. And if you want an alternative, well, here's 100 options for you. Have at it. Any one of them will work. And then when you do work with people, you have an inherent scarcity. There's only so much of you that goes around. So an agency will try to fulfill all the demand that it can create. Although smart ones will know that even agencies want to have more demand than supply. So you always want to maintain control of your supply, so that you can maintain a price premium and work with high value customers. That's just the best way to build a business, in my opinion. Whether that's memberships or even digital products, I think it makes a lot of sense to sell fewer digital products than you could possibly do. It's not about consuming the satiation of the market. It's about creating, think of it as like a hose, right? So if you have a large hose, water is going to kind of flow out and flop on the ground. And if you have a very thin nozzle at the end of it, it's going to be a power washer. And the difference between that in your business, you want a power washer business, not a limp hose that's just going to pour water on the ground, right? So that requires constraining supply when you're selling basically anything. And the more I'm in marketing, the more I realize is that it's supply and demand, as old and adage as that seems, really is the biggest contributing factor to your profitability. And so rather than trying to quench the entire thirst of the market with what I have to sell, I'm always thinking, how do I pick a small segment of a market, go premium, build a great product for that particular need or that particular audience, and limit the amount of supply so that I can maintain a price premium and work with the top 10 or 20 or 25% of the market and eliminate or make free my expertise for the remaining bottom 75%. Because when you think about in most markets, 65% of people are never going to buy from you ever. And then you have another maybe 20% of people who will pay an amount that's kind of a medium thing. And then you have a top 10 or 15% who will pay you a disproportionate amount to get the expertise. They get most value out of what you do. And if you're trying to sell something at the average of what that entire, picture it as like a pyramid, if you will, if you're trying to sell something that's at the average of that, you're going to sell something that's like $100 or $500 or something. But if you're really focused on that top segment, then you're selling things in the thousands that are going to be more profitable for you and super beneficial and super useful to those people who get the most value out of it. And really the rest of that bottom percent will either never spend money with you or won't spend enough money with you to make it meaningfully worth your while. Because the reality is, as consultants, most of us don't have massive audiences. And even if we do, we can still benefit from this mindset of how do I sell things at a premium to a fewer number of people, the people who want it the most, at a price that allows me to build a profitable, sustainable business. And so really strategy comes down to eliminating, to making trade-offs around my best advantages by removing the things that are least impactful, doing the few things that make the biggest impact, and creating the fewest available alternative options that compete directly with me so that I actually have negotiating leverage in a conversation with potential clients, so that I can say, if you want this, here's what I sell. If you want a generic knockoff, a general option that's an alternative, here's 100, here's 50 that I can offer you, and they're all excellent in their own way, but they're going to be maybe cheaper or more expensive, but they're not going to be me. And so how do you create that demand? It's about creating scarcity. It's about keeping your supply contained. It's the reason that even though De Beers owns so many more diamonds than are available on the market, they limit the amount of diamonds that they release to the market, even though they're mining new ones every day. It's the same idea. You have to control supply, and you want to work with the top section of the market who gets the most value out of working with you, and not try to serve and satiate the entire market, which will only water down not only your products and services, but also your prices. So that's the mindset, is how do I create a defensible thing? And that's by going small. It's not trying to build a massive audience. It's going small, and it's by delivering a better product or service with fewer competitors, fewer alternatives, and charging a premium for it, and maintaining a demand supply tension, as Daniel Parisi would say, so that my supply is lower and I'm always creating new demand. My supply remains constant. And that's how you have a very profitable small business that doesn't stress you out more than it needs to. That's all for now, my friends. Thank you for listening to the rant. If you want more content like this, you can head over to kevin.me, subscribe to my mailing list. That's where I really send stuff a couple times a week. I write letters, not newsletters, just letters, just thoughts. And you can head over there. They're very simple. They're very short. And yeah, I do marketing consulting full time. And I also help marketing professionals, specifically consultants, people who have been doing marketing for a while, build highly leveraged and profitable solo consulting businesses. And so you can learn more about that at kevin.me, and I'll have links to the membership that I offer and all this other stuff. But really, it's about the email list. And be sure you're subscribed to this channel for the next video that comes out. Watch one of those for one of the recent ones. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.